Welcome back to my channel. This is Gamer Dom, and this is the Russian Tier 6 tank destroyer, the SU-100. And what a mighty fine beastie it is too. Fantastic tank. So as I say, it's a Tier 6 tank. It sits in the, obviously, Tier 6, well yeah, we'll do Tier 6 within the Russian TD line, which starts back here with the 81, the very good SU-76M, the 85B, excellent SU-85 at Tier 5, then the SU-100, and then it splits. There's two very distinct branches that emanate out of the SU-100. You get the SU-152 branch that leads up through the Dirtville, big caliber guns that tend to fire a very damaging high alpha gun, or the SU-100M1 line, which tends to be more of the traditional tank destroyer snipey type role with a good, accurate, relatively fast firing gun. So, and that's really the nub of this tank. It's the crossroads between two ethoses of tank destroyers. One being a proper tank destroyer that relies on its rate of fire, its accuracy, and fires from range as a sniper, and the other which is much more of the assault gun mode, which carries a big alpha gun, does a lot of damage, not terribly accurate, so consequently has to be up close and personal with the enemy. The grind on this thing is interesting. So you start off with the 85mm, which is the same gun as you have on the SU-85, and it's okay. As a tier 6 tank, 120mm penetration is not going to set the world on alight, but it's okay. It's okay. You can deal with it. Only 160 alpha, which is a bit limiting. Very quickly, you can unlock the 100mm gun, which is a much better upgrade, and many people will play this gun regardless of what happens next, so they'll play it all the way through. The other option is to head down and pick up the 85mm, the upgraded 85, which also has extremely good rate of fire, good accuracy, and good penetration powers. So the 100mm has penetration 175, as you'd expect, a big ass shell, but it only fires at 7.79 rounds per minute. The 85 upgrade has only 144mm of pen, but fires at 10.5, sorry. So you can almost get 4 shots with the 85 upgrade to 3 on the 100mm, which is pretty effective. So, you know, it's not a bad option. However, I think my preference is the 122mm gun that you get on this tank. And this thing is ridiculous. It is the second highest alpha dishing tank at Tier 6. The only bigger one is the SU-100Y, the box tank. This thing is huge. It fires 122mm shell, only 4.6 rounds per minute, but 175 penetration at Tier 6 is amazing. It wasn't that long ago where the T-44 had at Tier 8 only had 175mm of pen. So the fact this thing at Tier 6 has the same sort of penetration is extraordinary. T-44 of course got buffed, but this thing is still a 175, which is a Tier 6 tank. It's phenomenal. With its APCR, it fires 217 pen, and with its HE, 61 pen. Standard rounds and APCR give a whopping 390 alpha average damage. This thing is very capable of one-shotting sort of Tier 5 downwards tanks, and it's got a fair chance at even some sort of Tier 6 tanks, and Tier 7 artillery will almost always be one-shotted by this thing. It's a big gun, very big gun, and consequently its load time's poor. Its dispersion and aim time is not fantastic. So aim time is 2.9, dispersion 0.43. The other two guns have much more effective aim time, much less dispersion. So that's the trade-off. You either go for a snipey type gun like the upgraded 85 or the 100mm, or you go for a big derpy gun. I know what I like. One other thing to note, which you don't often consider too hard, but the 122mm weighs considerably more than the other two guns. 2,600 kilograms, excuse me, as opposed to 2,200 with the 100mm and only 1,850 on the 85mm. Now, why does that matter? Well, it's because obviously the less weight you have, the quicker you can move, and the less the engine has to work. So it's only marginal, but if your tank is lighter, you'll move quicker, and that for some is an advantage. Less so for a TD, I would suggest. Engine wise, the top engine is only 20 horsepower more than the stock engine. Chance of fire is the same, so it doesn't impact too radically. 20 horsepower difference is not going to make a huge amount of difference at top speed. So really your kind of route is to unlock the top tier tracks, because you'll need those for the extra weight of these bigger guns, and then you either want to get to the 85mm or to the 120mm as quickly as you possibly can, in my view. Obviously I'm biased. I like the big ass 122mm because I like the alpha. I like that ability to one-shot enemy tanks if they're not careful. So what else about this tank? So we talked about all the reload times and everything else. Now obviously it's a turretless TD, so it doesn't have a turret, and therefore its traverse speed is not fantastic. However, this thing is actually surprisingly nimble. It's quite quick, it moves around the battlefield relatively well, and its actual hull traverse is not bad at all. So that will catch out a lot of light tanks and medium tanks who think when they've got around your flank they've got you. This thing can move. Its gun depression is not brilliant. -6 is going to get, you're not going to be able to do an awful lot of cresting. But this thing is really in its natural environment, certainly with 120mm, in the sort of cities and places where it can use that very flat or very sloped armour to bounce shots. Gun traverse, it only has 12 degrees each side of the turret without moving the say side of the turret, doesn't have a turret on each side of the front, only 12 degrees, which means you haven't got an awful lot before the whole hull has to rotate, which can be a pain because you lose the radical, suddenly balloons up and you have to reacquire the target. Survivability, 580 hit points, which is okay. And its armour, as I said, is somewhat trollish. It's actually not bad at all. It's 75mm on the front, and it's quite well angled. In fact, it's very well angled. And the gun mantle is enormous. So you will bounce shots off the front, especially if you can get some kind of angle in there. You will. Now the lower plate's not particularly big to hit, and also is also even more angled back. So yeah, the frontal armour on this thing is pretty pokey. Only 45 at the side and the rear. But this is a TD, you can't have everything. Mobility, I talked about that earlier. It's actually pretty mobile. 520 horsepower engine at the top end, has a top speed of 50 kph and 14 in reverse, so that's really pokey and very good. Concealment values, it's actually not bad. If it's stationary and hasn't fired its gun, it's actually a pretty stealthy thing. It's very low to the ground. However, when you fire, that big gun gives it away very, very rapidly. So, yeah, pretty good concealment. But it's one of its biggest weaknesses is its view range. Base view range is only. I've got a very good crew, so let me just get rid of the crew for a minute. Okay, so base view range is 373, which is pretty hopeless in a TD, and you do notice the fact that your tank is somewhat blind. In fact, I put a game up a few days ago from Shoot and Scoot, and he was trying to assault a base and wasn't getting an awful lot of support from his friends, and he just couldn't see, and so it makes it very, very tough. Very, very tough. Signal range is 570, which is also not fantastic, but this is just a tier 5 tank, so yeah, go figure. Equipment, I put vents, I put gun rammer, and I put enhanced lane drive. There's a case, if you're going to take the snipey long range fire option using the 85 or the 100mm, probably the 85, there's a case for putting binos either in place of the vents or the gun lane drive. I like to play this thing like an assault gun. I like to play up front and personal, where this view range is kind of an irrelevance, and where it can just dish out the dirt and the damage with that big ass alpha gun. I also take small repair kits, small first aid kit, and camo rations. Extra combat rations, because they get extra 10% to my crew during the battle, which again is great. And I want to keep this gun firing. You can dish out massive amounts of damage in this if you can just keep that gun singing, and that's why I take the combat rations, because I think it gives your crew that little bit more chance to reload. I've also got brothers in arms on this crew, and so their load time comes down considerably because of that. And we all know the more you can get this big thing firing, the more damage you're going to do, and more likelihood you'll win the game, but also do a lot of damage, and therefore generate an extra amount of credits and experience for your crews. So let's take a look at it on Battlefield and show you what it can do. Okay, so this is a game in the SU-100, and I'm bottom tier, which is not ideal. Platooned up with Shoot and Scoot, who's in the VK3001D, and it's his fault we're in a tier 8 game, frankly, because every single time he takes the VK3001D we get a tier 8 match, and sure enough we did this time. Also, Dynamics is out there in the KV2, so a bit of a mismatched platoon, but you know, sometimes they work well. It's an encounter game, and I find actually one of the things I like to do when I'm in a TD in an assault gun like this, or a low tier vehicle of some sort, is to try and get on the cap as quickly as possible and just hold it against all comers, because often, there's an ONI coming. Oh, that's a bit tricky. I was about to say, often what happens, and I've been spotted, is that the enemy don't push that hard with their bigger tanks, and I'm trying to track him. Didn't manage to. He's planted a shot into the building. Can I track him this time? Reloading. Come on. Tracked him this time and did a damaging shot, and I got back behind the building. Whew! That was a bit hairy. So we took down the one of their tier 8s, the ONI. Oh, sorry, tier 7 ONI. There's a T-34-100 who keeps trying to poke off the top there. We're winning by 3-0, and they've got a far better team than us. Far better team. Just shows sometimes, you know, tactical route is the best way to go. And you know, always when you're playing the game, look at the enemy's composition in their team and see what you can exploit. I could see we had a worse team, so I decided it was worth the risk of trying to get into the cap and put them under some pressure, because people do some weird things when they're under pressure. So got back. I got spotted there. I'm not sure who spotted me. Maybe something up on the hill. We lost the hill very, very quickly, and as a result they got free rein to watch us. And there is an artillery in this game, and so I want to make sure that, and it's quite an effective one, it's the GW Panther, and that can cause a real mess. While it's very inaccurate, it can cause a real mess of your tank if you're not careful. So I'm trying to hit that, here he is, and I got him. I was trying to get that T-34-100, every time he tried to poke round and poke off the hill, I thought I had a chance at him, and that was the one time I did. Oh, I bounced the Skoda. Bounced another shot off the Skoda, but that reset the cap. Even though it didn't pen me, the first shot hit me and did no damage, but it still reset the cap. So that was slightly annoying, because I didn't realise that he was there and he was going to poke. So I'm still thinking we're up against it here, because even though we're winning on numbers, they've still got some very, very good top tier tanks who are left alive. Now the good thing about it is that we're well spread out, so we can actually delay any push on the cap, and I've now got somebody else with me in the cap. So they're in real capping pressure. 23 seconds until we'd capped out, so they've got to do something about it. Can I get a shot on that camping medium up there? Yes, I can. He's down. So that's 400, only 474 damage, but 2 kills. No, yeah, 2 kills, because I got the the Skoda. Here comes the Skoda. I'm spinning around as quickly as I can, bring the frontal armour as such as it is. Hit a nice shot off the Skoda there. Trying to ram him to just track him in place, but can't do it. But managed to pull back, and good night. He got taken out. Actually, I got the shot in on, didn't I? But no, I didn't get a shot on him. He was taken out before I could. Anyway, whatever. He's down. But it did reset the cap again, so it's 11 plays 6. I'm going to try and help the guys out against this Super Pershing, but then I noticed the T-34 aim time on this big gun is a little slow, but he wasn't really paying attention to me, and he's down. Pulling back round again because artillery is still in play. That Super Pershing is in real trouble there, and I tried to track him in place, but he just pulled back just as I released the shell. And we've got this game. We've got this game. I'm sure we've got this game now. Still holding on to the cap. I don't want to give it up before we know for certain, because that is a Super Pershing that ship's firing at. So I'm going to ram him and just keep him busy. Good job, all done. We win. So that was the first class mastery, and also 5 for effect. Finished up top of the team, bizarrely. I suppose because I was in a top tier tank firing at heavier tanks. 1,903 damage, 3 kills, 866 base XP. Shoot and Scoot came second on XP, 851 damage and 1 kill, 866 as well, so I think I only got it on the fact I had more kills and more damage than him. Poor old Dynamics had a real shitty one. He got absolutely pulverised early on, and it wasn't one of his finer moments, but never mind. I fired 9 shots, hit with 7, penned with 5 for that 1,000 damage. You know, I was bottom tier, so you kind of expect that sometimes. Took 5 hits, only 1 of which penetrated. Surprise, surprise, which is great. That was the T25 bounced off me several times, I believe. Yeah, about 220 damage blocked, not much. Nearly 30,000 credits with a premium account after costs, 10,500. If I hadn't been running a premium, would have just made a very small profit of 830. We received nearly 1,300 experience times 2, and for playing an appropriate platoon gave me 2,637 XP. With a non-premium account, it would have been 1,758. So there you go. That was good. Good game. Really good, fun game, and you know, shows the SU up close and personal, and ability to snipe as well once that aim time comes on in. Okay, so let's watch Shoot and Scoot in action in the SU-100. He's on Tundra. It's a tier 6 game, so it's top tier, which is rather nice. And he's heading over to the right hand side to try and support the push on the hill. However, it doesn't appear that the enemy are that the team are pushing on the hill. There's one Shaffy going forward and a couple of TDs. Everything else has gone the other way. His team is very heavy centric. They've got 6 heavy tanks and the enemy have only 1. So yeah, not a great play by his team, because they've effectively given up the hill here. And chancing on the fact that the enemy cannot exploit the hill. But it doesn't at the moment. Oh, there's 2 tanks up there, so he's trying to see whether he can support the Shaffy. He's on the wrong side really to do that. Where you want to be is where the other 2 TDs are. they've got a chance of shooting over here, but yeah. Still nothing to shoot at, and here comes. It's always a matter of time before some of the enemy realise that they've got someone isolated. So Shoot's got a couple of shots in there, put a good one on the VK. Can he have another shot and even finish him off? Yes, he can. Big ass gun on this thing, can really make a mess of enemy tanks. The GOAT T-24 hasn't pushed round enough yet, I don't think, to get a shot. But he's yeah, it was a good start. He did nearly 700 plus damage and got the kill. Now he's not sure what to do. You can see him unsure about where to go next. It's got the view range on the SU is not great, so you're kind of relying on other people, and the enemy will know that he's here, and that impacts what you can do. Oh, here comes a scout coming in fast. He's pulling back to get away, as much to get away from the supporting fire from down below. These guys are going all in. Can he get a shot on that guy? No, he can't. Still can't get a shot on them. So his team is really, really buckling. 4-1 down. He's going to be rushed any minute by those that medium and that light. So he's coming back round to see whether he can get a shot. Oh, I don't know whether this guy is just obsessed with. Maybe he's obsessed with trying to get to the. Oh, there aren't any artillery, so it can't be that. I don't know what this guy was doing. Maybe he was on some kind of scouting mission, I don't know, but he just completely ignored Shoot, and paid for it because he was taken down. And the game's back in the balance. It's 4-all again, which is nice. Shoot's got 3 kills, and he's done over 1,000 damage, which is a pretty good start. I mean, to be honest, the enemy have thrown themselves at him, but you know, you can only shoot what you can shoot, and so he's coming back over on this flank. He's trying to get round to get some fire on those guys on the hill. There's still this bug on the replays where you can't see the outlines, so we'll have to guess whether or not he's actually got a shot. And I think he took a speculative shot there, and actually the toaster had pulled back, which was a real shame. So is he going to come forward again? Come on, you know you want to. No. And he's looking at the mini-map. He can see that there's an enemy heavy, VK-36, is it? No, 3001H, who's pushing into the cap. Now that's not a very terrifying heavy. It's more like a medium. Very, very nice gun, but 0 armour. So Shoot will have absolutely no problem putting a big ass shell through him. Oh, he's not pushing. No, he's pulled back. He was pushing the cap and he pulled back. There's the ELC. Can he get a shot in the ELC? ELC's moving. Aim time on this gun is a little bit lackadaisical. It can take quite a long time to aim on in, which is one of its biggest weaknesses. If it wasn't for that, what a gun it would be. But you know, they've got to balance these things out somehow. Otherwise, tanks would be just too devastating. So he's still trying to keep an eye on the hill. There's at least 2 enemy tanks up there, possibly more. But his team are actually doing okay. 7-all. Let's try to get round. Oh dear, now there's a bit of a mini collapse. It's 7 plays 10. So, and his team's push round the 1, 2, 3 line has kind of stalled a bit. Shoot was definitely thinking about going up the hill at that point, but seeing half the team collapse made him think, oh, hang on a minute, should I wait for a bit? There's nothing going on. And he told me about this the other night. He said he does sometimes has connection issues, and he said at this point in the game, his ping was going crazy and his frame rate was going crazy, and he couldn't control the tank, so he got a little bit tentative. Now I think that's just him. Tim's a bit tentative, full stop. So but he's a TD driver, and that's what you have to be. You have to play it carefully, because if somebody can circle you and get around your flank, you're dead. So TDs are ambush weapons primarily. So it looks like he's got behind the toaster, who wasn't paying attention, and that's good night. Is the goat paying any more attention? Not really. Oh my goodness. 3 kills on sale today. Oh, and he didn't manage to do it. Oh my goodness. Come on, you can take him. You can take him. He's that. Oh, he's reloading the 25. It isn't the goat, it's the sorry, T25. Yeah, and he was obviously reloading. He obviously didn't have a full clip. If he'd had a full clip, I don't think he had enough hit points to kill shoot in one go, but he would have caused a right mess. So there's a Type 34 down there. Should be able to one-shot him. Yep, there we go. And gave him an ammo rack to boot. So he's done 6 kills. It looks like the MX ELC is coming round. Is he coming to try and contest the hill to try and get some damage on shoot, or is he just... yeah, there he is. And that's a free kill. Thank you very much. 400 hit. Very nice indeed. GG, really nice game. So that was First Class Mastery. You got Demolition Expert, you got Fire for Effect, you got High Caliber and Top Gun. Very nice. Finished up, unsurprisingly, top of the team with 2,503 damage, 7 kills, 1,044 base XP. So that kind of result, Top Gun and all that damage is only a first class. Does show you how well people play the SU-100. He fired 10 shots, he hit with 10 of the, hit with 9 of them and penned with 9 of them, so that was a really good return. Received 3 shots in return, 2 of which penned, 1 didn't. The armour on the SU isn't fantastic, so you know that's what you kind of expect. 41,000 credits after costs, just shy of 30,000 in with a premium account. Would have been just shy of 16,000 without a premium account. And he had a very nice 1,566 XP for the game. So really, really good game in the SU-100. Shows off its its capability. What did I do there? It shows off its capability at short range. But it was a really nice game. So there you go, the SU-100 Tier 6 Russian tank destroyer. A beast with 2 hats. You can either fire the big ass gun and use it as a close-up and personal assault gun, which is how I like to do it, or you can be more of a sniper and use the upgraded 85 or even the 100mm to take down your enemies from distance and rely on your team to spot for you, because the view range on this is so poor that the chances of you spotting them are pretty slim, unless you really camp bush and you put binos on and so forth. But yeah, so it's a very tasty tank, very effective anti-tank gun, and it's a definite keeper for me. I've kept it for a long time now. I've played a lot of games in it and I really enjoy it. Anyway, hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, please give it a like down below, and if you haven't already done so, click on the subscribe button. That way you don't miss any of the videos as they come out. You get notified every time they do. So thanks for watching. Have fun with your games. Enjoy yourselves. Don't take it too seriously. It's just a goddamn game. I'll see you again soon. Gamer Dom out.